Lysander Caceres is a contract visual communicator for Nike who resides in Corvallis, Oregon, and specializes in branding and identity design. You can view his website at lysandercaceres.com, and let's get right into the episode. For sure. Well, thank you for coming on today. I expressed my gratitude for your flexibility already before we started recording, but again, thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. So if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself for the people listening who don't know who you are, and then we'll jump into what we want to talk about today.
All right, cool. So to start off, my name's Lysander Caceres. Before I start my backstory, we'll go way back to... So I just want to say I'm first-generation Filipino immigrant. I moved to the U.S. when I was 4. So from that, we fast forward to 2015. When I like to talk about my career, I talk about in 3 different ways. So I'll start with my professional career. My first quote-unquote graphic design gig was a high school yearbook editor. I am really curious as to how many people have yearbook as their gateway into graphic design, because that definitely kind of was for me. When I was working with old Adobe Photoshop Elements, I think it was 13 on the disk.
Oh my goodness, that goes way back.
Yeah, and we used a pretty limiting web-based browser. Even though some of the other schools got InDesign, we got stuck with the web browser. And then after high school, I went to a Cal State Monterey Bay in Seaside, California, right on the waterfront. I came in as a kinesiology major, and some friends took me some convincing, and I ended up switching to what we call a communication design major. I also had a marketing minor there. I took several internships when I was in college. I started out at the CSUMB Recreation Department, then I went to the county's transportation agency, and my last internship before COVID was at a hospitality marketing firm in Monterey. And then I graduated right into the pandemic, class of 2020, so that was very fun. I'll admit I hit my lowest lows at that time when I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. There are no jobs to apply to. Mm-hmm. So I'll talk about this in the next part later, but skipping over to 2021, I got my first full-time graphic design position. I made enrollment marketing materials for the University of the Pacific in Stockton, California. And then last summer I left that job, and now I'm here in Oregon making training materials for a large company in Portland. And then, so part 2 is, are you freezing?
No, you're good. We're good, I think. We're good.
Okay, so part 2 is so I like to call my freelance part of my career. I've had a variety of different freelance clients through the years. I've designed whole brand identities for 3 election campaigns in Monterey County, and then I've worked on flyers for 2 more.
Wow.
I have a friend down in Santa Barbara, or she went to UC Santa Barbara. She does all sorts of film stuff at USC now. And so I've done a bunch of movie graphics with her, like VFX maps, like posters, even a little patch that was in her latest film. And I feel like I'm forgetting something, but yeah, just a bunch of random logos, like other podcast covers. I just had one big podcast cover come out. I worked with Megan Reyes to come out with the Between Two Worlds podcast, highlighting the Philippine women's team's first run at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. That's
Sweet.
A mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Yeah. It's our very first World Cup, and I'm very proud to see the Philippines on the world stage for the first time, other than Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's probably the main Filipino. Is that correct? Filipino?
Yeah, Filipino.
That's the main Filipino that people know, probably, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah. And we didn't get our first Olympic gold medalist until Tokyo.
Really?
So it was a weightlifter
that
gave us our first gold. It was great. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then for personal work, and we'll go into this later on to this episode, but I do a lot of fictional redesign series on the side. We'll talk about our Well, my sorry. We'll talk about my jersey concepts. I've done three fictional soccer leagues, two for California and one for Oregon now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also done a license plate redesign for all of the US and Canada. And then way before all that, I used to make Snapchat filters. I feel like these days it's something they're like quietly phasing out. There were a few days like last week where you couldn't use any at all, and I'm kind of sad to see them like they came back, but I feel like they're slowly getting rid of them. But they were quite the rage back in like 2017, 18,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm happy to say like making Snapchat filters. I made like 230 something of them. It really like helped me like learn Illustrator and how to do all these different like design styles and design tools.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's the basic gist of my backstory.
So would you say you primarily like reside in like the branding world? Would that say like that's where like
Yeah,
you're
that's
most
what I would like.
comfortable?
Yeah, that's what I would like to get into.
Yeah. Because I was wondering, because well, we've been connecting for a while now, and
Mhm.
every time I get a chance to look at your portfolio, one thing I am always amazed when I look at your portfolio because you do amazing work. But it's like, yeah, you are really strong when it comes to really ironing out an identity. I think you do a great job at that. And by the way, people, his Lysander's portfolio, his website, and his Behance will be down below. So make sure you go down below and check that stuff out. But yeah, I think you do an awesome job when it comes to just
Oh,
ooh,
I was
dog.
going crazy about something.
You do an awesome job when considering, like, well, I guess for instance, we'll just jump right into what you have done as of recent. When considering like location and then really tying that all in to the brand. I guess yeah. Let's kind of jump into well, maybe not just your most recent one. Your most recent one was the Oregon League that you already mentioned, and then you mentioned that you did the California Soccer League and California Soccer League 2 rebrands, which fantastic, humongous props to you doing projects like that. I can only imagine how long that took.
Thank you. Many, many months.
Oh my goodness! And I see you have posters behind you. The people
Yeah.
viewing this aren't able to see it, but
Yeah.
yeah, you have posters behind you of your California Soccer
Inspired
League.
by you, Jared.
I do have that one right there. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, isn't it? It just ties the
Yeah.
whole office together. It's nice to see your
Yeah, I
work
still
on the
need to
wall.
make an Oregon one, but
Yeah.
in the making.
But so kind of let's dive into that, right? Going into that project, I mean, obviously you wanted to do it, right? You had like a whatever your reason was to do it, whether it was learning Illustrator or whether it was, really diving into how to do branding. But throughout that whole process, what were you going through? Like, I mean, you can start from conception when you wanted to start it, what you were thinking about, but like, I can only imagine as daunting as those projects are, what were you kind of thinking going into it and as the projects were going on?
Yeah, so for that, we'll have to rewind all the way back to high school. I still post on that these days, but when all the sports design people were on Sports Logos Net forums, I was always inspired by like the concepts, like the concept board and like all the stuff that people put out there. There was one in particular that got to me. It was Kevin Joseph. He made a whole like three leagues for Minnesota. And my high school self was like, this is really cool. Like, I should make one for California. So way back then, I didn't know anything about Illustrator. So like all my original like California League concepts were like hand drawn. And so like, I'll admit, like looking back, a lot of like the California League like jerseys are like really like not as elaborate as they are now, but like it was more like it started out on like colored pencils, so there was only so much I can do on there.
For sure.
Yeah, and then so I did that in high school. Like it was all like the side doodles when I was done with my work, and then during COVID, it was my girlfriend that actually motivated me to like, hey, like you have made all these in high school, like you should go and digitize them, like you could do something. Like again, it was my lowest point. I didn't know what to do. There was absolutely nothing.
Right.
And so like I went back and like just digitized all of that. Now that I like had many years experience on Illustrator, I'm like, okay, like I was like starting to use some templates. I'm like, okay, I really like how these look.
Mm-hmm.
So after doing the original like 49 teams, I decided it's like, California is such a huge state, and like I'm like, okay, I should do a second league where all these smaller cities I couldn't do in the California League would have their own team, and I feel like those two leagues and like even my current Oregon one, I feel like as cheesy as it sounds, it is my love letter to California. I'll always be a Californian at heart, even in Oregon. Um, it's just like it's really cool, like learning about like all the cities up and down the states, like through expressing them through design.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it too is like I wanted to make a pure, like a fully original league because like there's a lot of people that do like team rebrands, but there's only like so many ways you can like make a Giants jersey. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, why not just start completely from scratch with like nothing else going on except what the cities have? And
Mm-hmm.
I think even my geofilters kind of like bled into this project too, just like taking what a city is best known for and expressing it through design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is very like it's very interesting to me. Just simply like this viewing these projects made me want to learn more about the state that you were doing these about. Like just like with your I know you have some explanation on your website
Mm-hmm.
with these, but like on your Behance
Mm-hmm.
um oh, I guess on your Behance you do. Yeah, you do have
Yeah.
explanation on your Behance. My bad, I didn't see that.
I
Um,
didn't really have those for the California teams, but I really went all in for Oregon.
I was saying for the California teams, you just had the colored pencil
Mm-hmm.
sketches and then the digital versions, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made me dive in more into finding out your reasoning for those
Mm-hmm.
California League designs and finding out your reasoning of, um, I mean, sometimes even for the cities you like Del Norte Crescents, right? Crescent
Mm-hmm.
City. I don't know why you called it Del Norte. So maybe I make dive into
Yeah.
more find out the reasoning behind that.
Mm-hmm.
But then yeah, I really feel like you ironed out this whole concept with the Oregon one or Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Oregon?
Oregon.
Oregon. That's my
Yeah, you're good.
Midwestern. It's my Midwestern coming in there.
You're good.
um, but like really ironing out that concept for the Oregon one and the explanation behind everything,
Mm-hmm.
really showcasing your whole concept and your reasoning behind everything. I think that for a designer looking to get interested in this, I think modeling their project off of what you're doing is
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic ground level to like in the aspects of thinking about what to include, you know.
Mm-hmm.
One, because I mean you're really it's branding, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously you're gonna have to start with a concept, but then there's always reasons to why you're doing certain things. But
Oh
then
yeah.
also, since this is a self-driven project,
Mm-hmm.
for you getting freelance clients or getting work down in the like later on down in your career and
Mm-hmm.
um, going into branding projects like this, they'll be able to look at this and be like, okay, he really digs deep. You know, he really considers everything. He really knows how to explain, his design reasoning and everything behind
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, I think yeah, using
Yeah.
this project for like one, I mean, it's a great project for you to have on your portfolio. But two, like for others and younger designers to learn from this, it's fantastic.
Thank
Um,
you.
so yeah, I mean, I've been blown away seeing you post on Twitter like all this stuff all the time, um, since you started the Oregon one, and I don't think I really kept up with the California one. If you did post that, I don't recall seeing that. If you did,
It
that may
was
have been a
like
while ago.
2021. I'll admit, like the Oregon one definitely like blew up way more than my California ones ever did.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think I think part of it too is that I think Portland Timbers Twitter found my concepts. So that's when it started like getting all the traction from all the Timbers fans.
Hmm. Did you? Oh, you did do a Portland SC one.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. What did they say about it?
Oh, it's like I got the Flags for Good guy commenting on it actually. He really liked that one because The Portland flag is just really good on its own.
It's very unique.
Yeah,
It's a very unique city flag. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, where was I? Um, but yeah, do you have plans of doing any other states, or is it just the states you lived in?
Probably just the states I've lived in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'd have the most connection to those, and like likewise like more motivation to work on those because like I've been through these places.
Mm-hmm. So was there any like time in the process of those projects where like did you when you were starting the projects, let me reword this,
Mhm.
when you were starting the projects, did you set a timeline? Like did you want to finish the whole thing by X, or was it just, if I don't feel like working on one this week, it's kind of what it is?
Yeah, it's honestly just like my favorite part about my passion projects. I'm like I don't put a deadline on myself. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like I'll just get these done whenever these get done. And like I work on a team in one sitting. Other times I get creative block and it takes me 2 weeks to work on something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Right.
just like honestly just whenever I feel like making it.
How long did it take you to produce your Oregon League?
So I started like early November and I finished just in time for the 4th of July.
Wow. How many? Oh my
So
goodness.
like 8 months?
Yep. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's I'm counting the teams. There's five in a row, and there's one, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 columns. So 50. You did 50 teams.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
50 teams in 8 months.
Yeah,
Fully 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 branded out and everything.
The California ones were like the first league was like 49 teams and then the second one was 70.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That is, I guess I never really sat down and counted all these. I just looked in amazement rather than counting them all.
These take a while.
So, how much did you look to? Because in the soccer world, right? In the soccer
Mm.
world, the European area is, where most of the soccer culture in America derives from.
Hmm.
Did you try to like fully like brand these out like Americanified, or like totally like just you're thinking of it, or did you look for inspiration in the European teams?
I definitely look for visual inspiration in the European leagues. What's that website I used? I used a lot of what's it called? Colors of Football. There's a website that like has all these cool graphics of all the current teams and stuff. So I used a lot of inspiration from that. I have a huge Behance mood board. I've always looked up to like Mark Crosby and like Josh Melman and all their soccer crest. They've done excellent work, and like I think their concepts like really inspire me to like be very detailed in my designs too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as like soccer culture, like I've only been to two games, two soccer games. I've been to one Timbers game in August and April,
Mm-hmm.
and then last year, my hometown got like a USL championship team, Monterey Bay FC. So we went to that game last year. It was really fun, actually. Like I wish I had that when I was in college, because their stadium's right on our university. As like, but for these concepts, it was kind of like a hybrid European American model where like I use soccer club instead of football club, except when it's in Spanish.
Right.
Um, and in this world, there's like no MLS, no USL or anything, so it's like completely from scratch. All these like little state leagues vying for supremacy.
Right.
Um, I think I even inspired several people in the Sports Logos Forum to make concepts for Georgia, Washington, Alabama, and like eventually it'd be cool to like see people make stuff for like the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do see like looking into like the names of the
Hmm.
teams that you choose, and I see sometimes you went with the mascot, like
Hmm.
the for instance the Pendleton Cowboys, like
Hmm.
that's a very American culture name for a
Yeah.
soccer team. And then
Hmm.
also you went with United Roseburg SC, to where that's a
Hmm.
very like European style name. So yeah, I love I love the spectrum that
Hmm.
you're including in here. You're including in the naming of it. Was
Hmm.
that like to whether go whether to go Pendleton Cowboys or rather than Pendleton United or something like that? Was that basically was like did you name before you did the research, or like did your name kind of come from? I mean, obviously the Cowboys, you probably wouldn't have
Yeah.
known Cowboys if you didn't do
Yeah.
research, but like where you're going into it, hey, I'm gonna name it like Pendleton Town or something like that, and then there's large influence
Hmm.
of Cowboys and rodeo and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Let's just name it. You know what I'm saying? I may have
Yes.
rambled a little bit.
No, you're good. I think some of this, like, I already like some of these teams I already had set from like the beginning, and then like other teams, like, there's usually a lot of creative block involved. I don't name them until like up until like I'm researching it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can see one right now, like Springfield Isotopes. Like that was like one of the things I wanted to go from the get go because the guy who made The Simpsons is a Portland native, so like he unofficially considered Springfield, Oregon as the real Springfield. Yeah,
It's very
a lot of
unique.
names in The Simpsons are taken from streets in Portland. So there's like a Lovejoy, there's like a Burnside, Flanders, a lot of
Oh,
Portland
awesome.
references there. And so
So,
yeah, like yeah.
sorry, go.
Yeah, so some of these names are like I've already come up with, and others I'm like, yeah, this kind of sounds good. Like the joy with like soccer naming is it can be generic and it's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get into a situation where, wow, this city really doesn't have any substance? I can't really figure out something to.
There are cases with that. Like, I can think of one off the top of my head. The Gresham team. So Gresham is like the eastern part of the Portland area. Like all the Wikipedia research, all the Oregon Encyclopedia research I could do, it's like nothing really comes up for Gresham. And then one day, like I had to stall some time because my girlfriend had a conference out there, and so I just drove through Gresham, and I saw this like like the that pink purple statue thing where I was trying to get food. I'm like, there we go. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes like the internet doesn't come through, so you just gotta go down there and actually go out yourself.
Yeah, that's a
So like,
very unique statue right there.
yeah, I was like, whoa, what is this?
That is very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was very curious because, well, one, I don't really know much about Oregon, so it's like,
Hmm.
but I was thinking about it, I was like, what if I did one for Wisconsin, where I'm
Yeah.
from, and it was like, there's plenty of cities here that I would either pass over because they're like so small, or there's like
Uh-huh.
if I had to do them because it was like a localized area,
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't know what to, there's like
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. There's like some of these cities I'm like, in all honesty, I don't think I'd ever go to like any of these cities. They're just so far. There's nothing out there, like middle of nowhere towns. And like,
Hmm.
some of these I'll never go to, but here's a team for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you were, I guess, doing this, what did you? Well, I guess looking back, right? Looking
Mhm.
back after the project, what did you learn the most? What did you get out of it?
I think like researching everything, there are so many random facts about Oregon that I would never have thought. Like for for the Ontario team, the Onion one. So there is a facility there. They invented tater tots, the Ora Ida company, which stands for Oregon, Idaho.
Okay.
And my girlfriend told me this too. Ora Ida owns the copyright to tater tots, so all the other companies they can't call them tater tots. They have to call them something else because it's trademarked.
Right.
And like just all these random little facts about the state, I'm like, wow, like this is like we only have like 4.5 million people, but there's so many stories here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and just learning about all these little things and like this is really cool. Like it gave me a greater appreciation for Oregon. Like the big reason why I took this project, I'm like I want to learn more about like where I'm moving to because Californians get a bad rap in Oregon and like oh they're coming here they want it to be the Bay Area, but I'm like I didn't want to be that guy. I'm just like I want to learn more about the state. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know how y'all are. So like this was kind of like me trying to intentionally learn about my new state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like this is a very unique way of wanting to learn more about where you're living, especially when you
Mhm.
haven't, haven't lived here your whole life. So it's
Mhm.
like, how else are you going to learn about the state?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a very unique take on, what you could have done.
Mm.
Are you into making content?
Not really, like video content.
Yeah.
No, not really.
You very easily could have made this into a series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like Yeah, no, I'm just like I'm not the type for video. Like if someone else can do it for me, sure, but I'll
or at,
make the stuff. They can explain it.
right, or at least like a short form thing,
Yeah,
Like this very
yeah,
easily could have been like a short, like YouTube Shorts series, or like,
yeah,
have like a video side to this.
yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. I'm every time I look through it, I'm just amazed because well, maybe I didn't really look deep enough, but I've never seen like a independent research design project like this and go super in depth as much
Mm,
as like as far as you have.
mm,
Like I've only seen like types of project like this. I've seen like that one, like mine, or like just regular, like either like everyday design projects, or like everyday logo design projects or something like that. I've never
mm,
seen one that like this. Well, I mean,
mm,
until you decided to do California both times in this and
mm.
your license plate one. So
Yeah,
yeah, this is a very like for me, looking at this is a very interesting thing to like look at. I find new things it's like watching a movie over and over. You see new
mm,
things every single time you view it again.
yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, I can't keep talking enough about it. I think it's fantastic. I've
I
I've
appreciate it.
I've I've referred friends of mine and
Uh-huh.
interns and stuff like that I've worked with, and people that I've worked with, to this project and your portfolio, because of the amount of research and the amount of R&D that goes into developing something
Mm,
like this, and having them take notes from this and be able to look at this as a source of inspiration for how to do
mm,
extensive research and reasons why you're doing things. It's
mm.
like your projects are on like a pedestal when it comes to that stuff for me. So
I really appreciate it, Jared. Thank you.
kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, another one that you mentioned a little bit earlier, and that is also hanging behind you, your license plate one.
Oh yeah.
Did
I pulled
that
that.
did that go into like you obviously didn't really have to go that deep into that, right? Did you just look at what states had, or what was your whole MO with that one?
Okay, so I'll give a little backstory for that. So like I have a little like a mini plate wall behind me for the people that can see the camera.
I see that.
I've been collecting license plates since I was pretty young. Back home in California, I have like all 50 states and like 2/3 of Canada on my garage wall. So like I think this project was really cool, where like I could combine like this hobby that I had for a long time with like the graphic design skills, because like I always had a liking to like the modern, like the newest license plates that have like all these cool graphics or sometimes not cool graphics, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah,
So like I
sometimes they
thought,
suck.
yeah, I mean, wait, like I really like you said Wisconsin, right?
No, I said sometimes they suck.
Oh yeah, yeah, they do. Oh yeah. And like I think this project was like a cool exercise where like yeah, there's some that like I love and should never change forever, like ever. Like I love Arizona. Like it's such a perfect design that like represents southern Arizona. You know there's pine trees in Arizona?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I think that's a perfect design, should never be changed. And for this project, I had to like just throw out all those designs and just start completely from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a really fun exercise. Like I still did like a decent amount of research, but like it's a little more difficult when you're like researching a whole state
Mm-hmm.
than like Corvallis, Oregon.
Right.
And so like I think it was like a really cool exercise. Like I wish there was a way that I can like get these made. I posted them to the license plate collector group on Facebook a few days ago, and they really liked it. Um, I will say though, the people of Wisconsin did not like my Wisconsin design on Reddit. It got flamed. Like nothing against you. I know you contributed to that, but I'm just like, whoa. I had like so much backlash. I was like, okay, like it's
Mm-hmm.
part of the design process, like not everyone's gonna like it.
Yeah.
And
What were the what was the backlash again about? I know you told me, or at least I saw
yeah,
something that you posted about it, but you may have told me.
I think one of the recurring themes was like it's too Milwaukee centric. It's like, oh yeah, that was the big one. It's too Milwaukee centric. There were more minor ones like that's the wrong type of deer. Like why are the stickers at the top or something like that? Like because I rearranged a few things. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
a random sprinkle of things, but yeah, it's like the most one. It's like not apparently not representative of the whole state, even though that's what I tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
was interesting.
When in doubt with Wisconsin, go farming. And
Yeah.
with the current license plate, it works perfect.
Oh yeah, no, I love it for some reason. I just really like it's like the current one. It has such a retro charm.
Mm-hmm. But I think I saw you post about something where people from Wisconsin, they must not know their own state
Yeah,
state
their own
motto.
like motto. Yeah, I was like, because like a lot of people were starting to get political about it, and they're like, that's literally your state motto.
Mm-hmm. I think it's on our flag too. It may
Yeah,
be on our flag. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Yeah, people from Wisconsin, man. Well, I guess people from any state, right? They have so much pride to where,
Oh yeah.
it's all the stuff that they're saying back for critique is always warranted when it comes to someone's state. So
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, I'm just like super curious on, I guess, what were your struggles when doing these projects? I mean, they're long, strenuous,
Hmm.
no, I feel like sometimes, at least with in my personal project, like
Hmm.
I know there was an end date, but part of me was like, this is never ending. Like, why can't I
Hmm.
get over this? What were your struggles when doing this stuff?
I think the biggest one for me was just like creative block.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like as we talked about, like some of these like cities in Oregon, I'm like I had zero clue what to do. Like no matter like people on the internet or like people on Twitter, like my coworkers only know so much. I'm like I wouldn't expect them to know anything about some random city in Eastern Oregon or stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
like there were times where like some projects I like kind of like move towards the end so I could like focus on other things in the meantime. Not for the license plates, I did them all like alphabetically in that order, so I couldn't push stuff aside then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's just like, yeah, creative block, just like not knowing where to go. I think at some point after making so many like soccer kits and stuff, I'm like, I kind of started feeling like all my stuff started looking the same. Like, oh, I did this style before. Like, I wanted to differentiate it, but I feel like I've done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I think you hit. Well, I don't know if obviously, I don't know if you hit it right on the
Hmm.
head. At least it sounds like you hit it right on the head with like what I would be thinking as well. It's like you're doing, especially with your soccer league ones, right? You're doing
Hmm.
like there. I feel like there's only so, like if I was sitting back and I was doing this project,
Hmm.
right? There's only so many GD ways you can go with a soccer kit, and
Yeah.
also considering things to where, are things readable? Will,
Hmm.
like, were you considering when designing those, like, if fans would actually want to buy them? Or were you just doing it to get them done?
I think for the Oregon teams, like I definitely like did them to get them done, but I also wanted it to make sure like these designs, like the people in these cities would be proud to where these teams existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On last episode with Ryland, we are actually talking about soccer kits and
Hmm.
talking about, like the design process with them and making sure, it's kind of like a very open-ended end product because, well, obviously, like, you want to design something awesome, but your main reason is getting something so your fans would, feel good wearing it and want to represent the team, while they're wearing
Hmm.
it. I was just curious if that ever popped into your head when designing them, and um, you know, I mean, I know you considered like a lot of like for the Portland one, for example, you considered the Portland flag. So it's almost like
Mhm.
why wouldn't they want to design or to wear that? I feel like that's pretty
Yeah,
city centric.
yeah.
um, but yeah, like going through here, I mean, you have very unique kit designs
Hmm.
for each team, and I feel like it connects with the brand on a bigger level rather than just looking cool. And I
Hmm.
feel like that's the best part. Like
Yeah.
for this you don't have to design for print. You can just design for what you think would look cool.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I guess yeah, I think everything turned out like super awesome. And obviously, like if you go with hoops or if you go with a sash or if you go with stripes,
Yeah.
that's just soccer at the end of the
They're
day.
still, they're still very much like some of these teams are very standard looks.
Hmm. So I'm just seeing the Ontario one right now, and
Hmm.
the home kit for the Ontario with the different shades of like the red onion.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool. That's super cool.
Thank you.
The different layers. Oh
No,
yeah, I'm just digging into that one. That's sick. I love that.
yeah. I think one of my favorites too, in that same division, there's this little town called Hermiston. They're like their whole thing is a watermelon. So they're very proud of their watermelons. I just saw them at the store yesterday. I'm like, I should try these Hermiston watermelons. And I just had a field day with that kit. I'm like, yes, I get to design the inside and outside of a watermelon, just go all out. I think that's what I really enjoyed about like soccer kits too, like compared to like more traditional looks like baseball.
Hmm.
Like in soccer, you're just like way more like you can be way more expressive on your kit designs. Like it's just a much more open canvas.
Hmm.
And like I wasn't really a big soccer fan growing up at all, and like I think I definitely looked more into soccer aesthetics than like the actual play
Hmm.
until very recently. And yeah, it's just a lot more. It's a broader canvas that
Hmm.
don't always have in other sports.
Hmm. I was gonna ask if you were like into soccer. Well, I feel like you have to be at least some sort into soccer. But if you're like a big soccer guy,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah, no, not quite. Like the closest thing was like my dad played soccer in the Philippines when he was very young, but like that's it.
that interests me. It's like when you go. It's like someone that like let's say like you're a new hire at a job, right? It's kind of like this. You're a new
Hmm.
hire at a job, and someone 50 that been working not 50. Someone's that been working there for 10 years isn't going to see the new things that you're seeing. So like your
Hmm.
perspective on like the whole soccer kit and soccer landscape was probably
Hmm.
completely different than someone that's been seeing it over and over and over again. Do you think that
Hmm.
that helped you when designing these things? Like your eyes were relatively new to the culture.
Um, Not quite. I think it was just like seeing like what like different kit manufacturers come out with and like seeing all the fan concepts like really like inspiring like
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was interested in that as well.
Hmm.
Um, because yeah, that's a thing. I don't know if you've experienced that too. It's like, well,
Hmm.
in my young career, my young professional career,
Hmm.
being at like new jobs, it's they always ask the new people for feedback because people that have been there for so long aren't really gonna see they kind of look over some of the cracks and flaws that new people would be able to see right away. So yeah, I was curious
Hmm.
if like you thought that influenced your design decisions at all and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
so where do you see yourself kind of going on like a personal work level now? Like do you see yourself doing another one of these with like a second
Um,
league in Oregon?
I think my next series, I've been thinking about this for a while, like some sort of like all-star game branding, like if all the cities hosted like an all-star team
That's
or
cool.
all-star game, like because I really want to learn more into like typography and kind of incorporate some motion in there. Motion's like one of those things where like I want to learn it, but I always procrastinate on it. And like I've been doing more animations at work lately, and I'm like, okay, I think this might be helpful to like what I do.
Hmm.
And like having like I think just making like fake whole like I know I've already made like many fake brands, but like being more like in depth with them. Um, I think that's my next goal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always look forward to when like the Rangers just came out with their All-Star Game logo last week and like stuff like that. And I'm just like I always look forward to the explainer graphics because I want to know like how this design came to be, like
Mm-hmm.
why is it like this? Like there's several people I look up to, like Ross Yoshida, the Dodgers, like Chris Payne who makes soccer kit like crests, and just like seeing all the attention to detail that they put into brands. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that's what motivates me to do my work, and like I want to do something like robust, like all the different like combinations of the All Star Game logo you could do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I want my next step to be.
Mm-hmm. I have an idea for you.
Hmm.
You may or may not want to dive in on this at all.
Okay.
I think you should take a team from each one of your leagues, your
Hmm.
two California leagues and your Oregon league,
Hmm.
and fully like brand out a style guide for them.
Ooh.
Since you already designed the logo, and I mean, you have basically two steps done, right? You designed the logo and you
Hmm.
designed the kits. So it's like,
Hmm.
like just take your, I would say, take your favorite concept and like fully, fully like brand it out. Like make like,
Yeah.
it'd be cool to see like you make like cool customized patterns for it.
Hmm.
Maybe designing like in situ signage, or what would their field look like. I
Yeah.
think that'd be pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to do it if you don't
No, no,
want to.
no.
It's an idea.
No, like that's kind of the realm of like what I want to do next.
Yeah, like I think like the one that came to mind. The mascot that was in my hometown was a tiger. So oh my god, whoa, Tualatin
Oh,
tigers,
Tualatin.
Tualatin. So
Yeah.
the stripes, like I'm very curious how the stripes would be used other than on
Yeah.
their kit.
Yeah.
Very interested to see like how that whole brand would extend farther than the kit and the logo.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think like to add to it, you could very
Hmm.
easily do like an exploratory, dive deeper into how everything would look off the pitch. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds like a cool project. Yeah.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I I mean, I messaged you, and I messaged you right away after you got done. Well, I messaged you during your Oregon project, and I asked if you wanted
Yeah.
to be on the podcast, and you said, let's just wait until that one's done. Then
Yeah.
probably either the day of or the day after you ended your
Yeah.
Oregon project, I was like, okay, when are we going to schedule this?
Yeah.
Because I think this whole aspect of personal work and doing self-driven work, and again, I can't say enough about how you've constructed your projects here. It's fantastic. But
Thank you.
for the people that listen to this podcast, I thought you being on here would be only beneficial for you to be able to, dive a little bit more into the reasons why you did this, but then also, kind of taking a deep dive into the whole project as a whole, and,
Hmm.
really looking into the reasoning and, everything that you considered when completing this project.
Hmm.
I think this conversation has been fantastic, and I think the audience of the podcast will only benefit from this. So thank you for
Yeah.
taking the time and being able to explain this
Yeah.
for the people that listen.
Yeah. Thank you. And I also forgot to I knew I was forgetting a freelance project earlier. This kit that I'm wearing, it's an Olive and York kit. He
Okay.
I think a year ago they reached out to like on Twitter. They called out like designers of like all across, like you should like go make a kit for your own state. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'll make one for California. Little poppy, the bear, and like the sash is like that's the direction of the state. It's like very diagonal state.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I have this on my wall next to me. And I'm just like, it'd be cool to see these printed one day. That's the goal.
Yeah, it'd be insane to get them all printed and just hung up in like
Oh
a
yeah,
independent closet or something, and you just that'd be
oh
so
yeah.
cool.
No, like I look at like Brian Gundell's background and like all the jerseys he's ever made. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is really cool. Like I want to be there one day.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, he luckily has gotten them. He didn't have to print them himself, thank God.
Oh yeah, but like all the stuff he's made, like having physical prints, there's just something so
Right. Yeah.
satisfying. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and even like being able to see your work in the flesh, it's just completely different, and being able to see the end product and everything like that. But yeah, man, again, thank you for coming on. For the listeners, again, go down below, check out Lysander's socials, check out his portfolio and his website. Well, I guess they're both kind of under the same portfolio word, but check out his links, connect with him, learn from him. Awesome stuff, man. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Jared.
But yeah, listeners, thank you for listening today. It's been episode, what was it, 85? 85, right? Episode 85. Thank you for listening today. Hope to see you next time, and make sure that you tell someone that you love them. All right, we will see you next time. Peace.